I think the biggest single challenge, certainly in the public sector, is that public sector procurement is actually going to be reshaped. It's going to be restructured. There are some people who will really be able to take advantage of that, who have got the skills, the initiative, to be able to actually live with the change, drive through improvements, secure better value for money. I think unfortunately there are going to be a lot of people who are in the procurement profession who are going to be left behind, and things that they're doing at the moment that could be done jointly or by other people. And we saw Ian Taylor's quote from, I think it was Ian's quote from Drucker at the end of it, we shouldn't be doing anything else that someone else can do better. I think that some people are going to find themselves in that position, that someone else can do things better, that someone else will be asked to do things better. So what's the future for them? So I think there's going to be a lot of uncertainty in the procurement profession. Some people are going to really benefit, some people are actually going to shine in the future, but others are perhaps going to get left behind and left out. If you look at public sector procurement spend, it's about £220 billion a year. If we look at total public sector expenditure, if we exclude benefits payments, old age pensions payments and those sorts of things, then public sector expenditure is about £450 billion. So procurement is 50% of that. So procurement is absolutely vital to the delivery of public services, to the delivery of quality public services. What we have to do is to move towards an approach where there's much leaner approach to procurement, where there's much more consistency, an approach to procurement, and if we actually do that, we can start to deliver better public services through procurement. Now, if I use the example again that Ian mentioned, and I think other speakers did, of all the different terms and conditions and processes that we have in the public sector, and if you can harmonise on those, you can take out a huge amount of cost for suppliers, and you can make things a lot easier for suppliers actually to deliver a first-class service. So the restructuring of procurement, the harmonising of procurement procedures and processes will enable the supply industry to deliver better services at lower cost. And then if we take some of the things that the other speakers said, such as Rachel, then I think that what we're able to do there is to start to introduce new suppliers into the market. We can actually look at the market much more strategically and identify those suppliers who perhaps we're not using at the moment, who could help us deliver the objectives. So I think there's an absolutely fabulous opportunity for procurement here. Yes, costs must be reduced, but I'm quite certain, I do know that costs can be reduced very considerably, and at the same time we're able to get better outcomes. What I also think is that in terms of opportunities for procurement is that we're going to see more outsourcing, so procurement itself is actually going to have a bigger and bigger profile in terms of delivering public services. I think the issues they face are very often the same. So many private sector organisations don't actually have very good procurement. There are some that really have very good procurement, they're very focused, they have relatively centralised procurement, though we've heard of some of the disadvantages of that. And the public sector has recognised the need now to really pull things together. Even if we don't quite have mandation, at least there's going to be much more integrated procurement, I think, in the public sector. So to deliver the sort of services we're looking for at a much lower cost, one does need integrated procurement. Private sector organisations need that as well. The other side of the coin is that the public sector can learn from the best private sector organisations. The report I wrote for the Institute of Directors towards Tesco that Ian referred to is just saying how much we could learn from the private sector, from the best of the private sector, and the practices that could be applied in the public sector. And again, if we do that, we'll deliver far better services, we'll deliver them at lower cost, we'll have integrated procurement so we can deliver government procurement objectives that have never been delivered up to now. We've had SMEs on the agenda for 25 years. Quite a big investment in trying to increase the use of SMEs. I don't know of any evidence that that's actually achieved anything up to now because we haven't had the structures in place. So we need to get government procurement structured properly, But equally, the private sector organisations need to get their procurement structured properly. So we all need to learn from the best of both. If we do that, then UK private sector will be very much more efficient, and the UK public sector will be very much more efficient.